Hi, everyone. My name is Kyle Monahan, and I'm going to take you through the process of searching and preparing for an internship and an interview. But the first thing we're going to talk through is how to prepare and the questions to know for a private sector job interview. Now, I'm really focusing on if you're trying to get an internship and they'd like to do an interview. Most internships will do an interview with you, at least a phone interview. So you should feel comfortable with the following questions. How relevant is your education to this role? They will probably have read your resume, but maybe not well. So you'll need to make sure that you can market yourself reasonably. Um, to this position. How would you approach a new software program or statistical approach if you don't know the methods to address it? One of the key things I always want to know if I'm interviewing someone is, will they be good enough to teach themselves, or will I have to train them every step of the way? I don't want to have to do that, and the person interviewing you does not want to feel that they need to train you in everything. They want to know that you'll be able to teach yourself and be a little independent in that. And so this question gets at that. Why work for our company? Question number 3. You should know exactly how you're going to fit into the company. It's okay if you don't know the details of the position, but you should be able to understand what a data analyst does, what a data scientist does, how it works with the data engineering team. For example, if you're in a role for a data analyst, you might ask how often you'll meet with the data engineering team. How often will you meet with the marketing team? Right? Asking about the dynamics of that can do, one, tell them that you know about these types of companies, you know what they do, and you know how you can fit in there. And 2, it gives you an idea of the politics and the social environment in which you're stepping into. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, and what can you offer us that someone else cannot? Interviews also are a little bit about what you bring in terms of personality to the table. So that's something to know about. Number 6, what is your biggest failure? Always be able to talk positively about the negative things that have occurred to you. So, for example, if you submitted a paper and it was not accepted, that's okay. You'll just want to note that that wasn't accepted and how you learned from it. The key component is that you're learning from your mistakes. You're taking things as opportunities and not as problems, right? So give me a time you went above and beyond, and will you work holidays and weekends? One of the things I've always noted in interviews is, how often people ask if you'll work overtime. And this is, not allowed. So, depending on, of course, it depends on your, if you're salaried or not. But, I would ask them what the expectations are for that type of question. Salary requirements, you should always know what the general salary range might be. And so that kind of depends on the role, but you should have an idea of what that might look like. Make sure to look on Glassdoor, and we can talk about that, but Glassdoor is a great reference. You should know a little bit about the company and where you want to work. And then you should have some questions, some really good questions prepared for the interviewer that shows them that you're really interested in the role. Some general tips to think about. Talking about yourself is okay. You're awesome. So remember, it's okay to be positive about yourself. Showing that you'll work hard is good. Don't be afraid to ask about the roles and expectations. Be excited, and don't be afraid to make English errors. It's okay and expected. If you're applying for a role that's very data focused, you want to feel confident that your communication around the data is clear. Have some great examples of visualizations and narratives, your papers that you can submit where your English is excellent. It's okay to be a little frightened in the moment, and that's all right with that. Finally, always make sure to ask the person's name and send a thank you email. If you want more practice, you can go through these questions here, and these are all the questions that I've ever been asked, kind of a list of them. But yeah, these are how to prepare for the interview. Thank you very much for listening. I will pause this video, and then we'll start up about how to look up an internship next.